morning. It's Tech for Senior. It is episode 126. It is August 22nd and a sunny day in Comox, British Columbia. Today we have a big show for you. We'll be starting with Bob's security update. He's going to tell us how to use the Shift and Enter keys. Bill James is going to talk on Microsoft OneDrive. I'm going to talk about emergency setup on your Android phone, and Ray's got some great music for us. So it's going to be a great show. If you are listening as a Google or as a YouTube replay, thank you for listening. If you are listening to this as a YouTube short, please click the description and click, and it'll take you right to the show. So welcome, everyone. We have lots of things happening today. But of course, you all know that we have a show on Thursday as well. So this Thursday, we're going to be talking a little bit about flip phones. Ray's going to join us, and he's going to give us a few comments on his flip phone. And of course, this meeting is being recorded, and it will be available later on today for a replay. The premier service that we have that will be starting at half past the hour will be 5G, and Huey Kloos is going to talk about 5G. Huey's going to talk on his very popular, the part 2, how to listen to a podcast. And as you probably know, I put an article about podcasting in our Saturday newsletter. And then I'm going to talk on my favorite talk, wearable technology and your health. So all those will be on our premier service, which is free. It's just you need the link to get there, and that link we'll put in the chat for you. And of course, it was in our newly designed newsletter. So hopefully everybody saw the newsletter on Tuesday and Saturday, because I redesigned both. It's not completely finished, but I hope I didn't hear anything negative. So hopefully everybody appreciates that, and it'll be a better reading experience for you. On our Saturday newsletter, we are going to be acknowledging the people who did a donation to our Tech for Senior. And this week, I want to thank Rolando Thorburn. Thank you so much for your donation. And I want to also thank Kathleen Steed. So those two people have generously donated. Last month, we had over 20,000 people looked at our over 600 videos, and that helps us continue the work that we're doing. Now, we have a busy show today. I want to, Huey, we also have, what are we doing this Thursday? There's something we're doing this Thursday.
Yeah, we got learning Chromebooks coming up, and I've got to send out reminders today and then again on Wednesday for those people who are already registered. And if you're not registered, you need to go to www.techforsenior.com and click on the link to register for the Learning Chromebooks.
And that's, excuse me, that's right. And we're going to, it should be a good one, because version 104, there's lots of new things in this this release of Chrome OS 104. So it should be fun. And we've got lots of articles to talk about as well, eh?
Yep.
So it should be fun. And that will be after our Thursday show, about an hour after our Thursday show. And as you said, if you have registered, you don't need to re-register, and you'll be sending out the confirmations to, I guess, today, eh?
Yep. And then Florida has primary tomorrow, and I'm working the polls. So today I'm going to help set up part of the room, so it's ready for tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'll be working from 6 o'clock in the morning till at least probably 8 o'clock tomorrow evening as a poll worker.
There you go. Bob, what's with all this Apple stuff? My gosh, 3 nights in a row, Apple made the national news on security issues. What's going on with Apple?
Oh, we'll cover that when we do the security news roundup.
You had a busy week.
Yes.
That's amazing. And Ray, what's flipping?
Well, you know, it's feast or famine, as they say. The Southwest has been in a drought for more than a decade easily. But this past several weeks with the monsoon season. I was reading yesterday that we've had more rain in the monsoon season this year than we have in the last 10 years. So, and some of the rain is pretty torrential, but I love it. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain.
Very good. Thanks, Ray. And we'll be talking to you a bit later. And then, of course, we have Bill James. There you are, Bill. You're, of course, front and center today. You've got a great presentation for us on OneDrive.
Well, I hope we do. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. It's a pleasant 78 degrees here in Oklahoma City, which is quite a departure from the 100-degree temps we've had in the past couple of weeks.
Well, we'll be talking to you shortly. So I want to thank everyone for helping me last week. I made an announcement last week and told everyone that my Ring doorbell went kaput and I needed a new one. And I ordered one for $224. And bingo, one day later, it was on sale on Amazon for $40 less. So you told me last week to contact Amazon and don't take no for an answer. So I did exactly what you said. I phoned up, and of course, the first person on support said, "No, we don't price match. You just too bad." And I said, "Well, I want to talk to your supervisor, just like you guys told me to do, right?" And so I phoned. So they transferred me over to the supervisor. They said, "Oh, no problem. The amount you order on Amazon, don't worry about it. We'll just give you a $40 credit on it." I said, "That's just fine." So I got the difference, and that all worked out just great. So thanks so much for helping me with that. My wife's away this week, and as I was telling everyone this morning, I've got a fleet of robotic vacuums going in the house now. I got 2 upstairs and 1 downstairs, and one and a mop too going. So I'm going to have the cleanest house in the whole world when she gets back and gain some brownie points. So I'm working hard here as I sit. So that's been going well. Big news this week. I'm getting excited about the Pixel Watch, and the Pixel Watch is, of course, coming out this fall. Well, the fall is next month, right? And Google Fi will be integrated into the Pixel Watch. This is big news that just came out this week. So we'll see how this is all going to work. Lots more information about watches as we move forward in this. As we move forward. Well, let's get moving. And Bob, do you want to take it away with the security news update?
Yeah, let's hope I got things set up on my end. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending August 19th, 2022. Apple patches 0-day exploit affecting kernel and WebKit. On August 17th, 2022, Apple released 2 security alerts, one for iOS and iPad OS, and one for Mac OS. Both alerts concern Apple WebKit, the open source browser engine powering Safari and heaps of other apps, and the kernel, which is effectively the core of the operating system and serves as a bridge between your hardware and software. Furthermore, although Apple issued 2 security warnings, the vulnerabilities are the same across each Apple operating system. While Apple did detect some exploitation of these vulnerabilities, they didn't reveal how many devices were breached. However, it did provide a list of devices affected by the vulnerabilities: iPhone 6s and later, iPad Pro, all models, iPad Air 2 and later, iPad 5th generation and later, iPad Mini 4 and later, and iPad Touch 7th generation, Macs running Mac OS Monterey. As you might expect, we strongly suggest you patch your Apple devices as soon as possible. Read more on this at Make Use Of. Fitbit appears to be having a bad summer. A string of technical troubles have been plaguing Fitbit, and more specifically, Fitbit users throughout the summer. On Tuesday this week, Fitbit charged 5 owners found it impossible to sync the devices to both Android and iOS systems due to a widespread Fitbit outage during a large part of the day. Earlier in the season, Android users complained about a Fitbit app update that seemingly broke the estimated oxygen variation graph, which depicts how users' blood oxygen levels change during sleep. The update caused users to see false increases in their nightly oxygen variations, which caused mass confusion. Earlier in the year, the company recalled Fitbit Lonix smartwatches after 78 of them burned users. Customers have been complaining throughout the summer that the company is taking far too long to issue refunds for the watches. Read more at The Verge. Twilio breach exposes Signal users' phone numbers. According to a support notice by Signal, a phishing attack on Twilio, an SMS service company, exposed the phone numbers of 1,900 Signal users. The company emphasized that no other data was breached. Signal uses Twilio to send SMS verification codes to users registering their Signal app. The successful phishing attack provided momentary access to Twilio's customer support console, which exposed verification codes that confirmed those 1,900 phone numbers were registered to Signal devices and allowed the attackers to potentially use the codes to activate Signal on different devices. Signal is alerting all affected users and instructing them to re-register their devices. For more, see Ars Technica. The SOVA Android banking Trojan got more dangerous. Researchers have discovered an updated version of the SOVA banking Trojan that has largely expanded its capabilities. Formerly equipped to target up to 90 apps, the malware can now attack up to 200, including banking apps, crypto exchanges, and crypto wallets. Other updated functionality include intercepting two-factor authentication codes, stealing cookies, and reaching a wider group of international targets. The new variant conceals itself in fake apps, posing as legitimate ones, like Amazon or Chrome. Researchers have dubbed this latest version SOVO version 4, but they believe a new version is already in the works and that it will feature a mobile ransomware component. See the Hacker News for more. Over 9,000 VNC servers exposed. At least 9,000 exposed virtual network computing endpoints have been discovered online, giving potential attackers a doorway to the connected internal networks. The VNC system offers control of a remote computer via remote frame buffer protocol, which helps users connect to systems that require monitoring or adjustments. Researchers were alarmed when the exposed VNC endpoints were not password protected because so many of them connect to community and business services, such as industrial control systems and water treatment facilities. To learn more, see Bleeping Computer. Water lotta confusion. In a bizarre case of mistaken identity, the Clop ransomware gang claimed to have attacked and breached UK water company Thames Water, yet the company insists that claim is a hoax. Meanwhile, another UK water company called South Staffordshire Water has reported a cyber attack which has caused disruption to its corporate IT network. Could it be that Clop attacked the wrong target and does not know? Furthering the confusion, Clop said it accessed the company's SCADA supervisory control and data acquisition that controls chemical supplements in the water. Yet South Staffordshire Water stated that the attack did not affect the company's ability to provide safe water to the community. For more on this strange story, see ZDNet. Prepare to feel old as we celebrate 50 years of Atari. This year, gamers worldwide have invested hundreds of hours getting lost in games such as Elden Ring and Horizon Forbidden West in glorious 4K 60 frames per second HDR gameplay. But to fully understand how we got there, we must take a trip back in time, long before Nintendo, Sega, and PlayStation would release consoles. In 1977, the Atari 2600 arrived, and the video games industry was primed for takeoff. It's easy to forget in a digital age of consoles and streaming games that the 4-switch wood veneer version that would follow is arguably the most beautiful video game device ever made. Access to other worlds via low-resolution games in 2KB chunky cartridges required a healthy dose of imagination to get the most out of the console. Read more at Cyber News. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Today's scammers rely on an internet connection and social engineering to make their living. To help ensure that you don't become the victim of an online scammer, here are 6 common types of internet scams and how to avoid them. Read the article at the link listed or watch my video on this topic at the YouTube link listed. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye. Here's some helpful advice the next time you need to post something on Facebook, Discord, Slack, and Teams. Try using the shortcut key combination of Shift and the Enter keys to skip to a new line without submitting the content. Once you've finished your thoughts, simply hit the Enter button to submit your post. Let me show you just what I'm talking about and how this works. So I'm now on my Facebook page. I'm ready to type something. If I were to just simply hit the Enter key to get to another line, this would automatically be posted. That's not what I want. I want to go to the next line, but I'm not ready yet to post this to Facebook. So I hit the Shift key and the Enter key, and I go to the next line. Now I can continue to type in that same message. Again, the Shift and Enter key gets me to the next line. Now, when I'm ready to submit all of this, simply hit the Enter key and you'll submit everything. That's simple. So remember, if you need to start a new line, simply hit the key combination of Shift and Enter. When you're ready to submit and post it, just hit the Enter for it to be submitted. And this works on Facebook, also works on Discord, Slack, and Teams, and there's probably quite a few other places where this works. Why not give it a try? And if you find something new, let me know. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bob, Bob, I wish you'd told me that 20 years ago.
Yeah, I wish I knew it 20 years ago.
Like I wish I knew that. Do you know how long that's been a problem whenever I hit enter, it posts the stupid thing? It just drives me crazy. Why didn't you do that a long time ago? Why did you make me suffer all these years?
Same reason I was suffering. I didn't find out until just now. And because I found out about it, I said, whoa, wait a minute. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has that same problem.
I just tried it in the Zoom chat box and it works there
too. It works there too, correct. Yep.
Oh, gee whiz. That's well, that's why I wanted to put it in the show today. I thought this is brilliant. Why didn't we know about this?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, anyway, let's we have
Folks,
to now
for questions, we'll answer all of those at the end
Yes.
of the show during the Q&A.
That's right. So now I want to introduce, of course, I don't have to introduce Bill James. Everybody knows Bill James. But I wanted to do a section, and actually has a two-part, so this will be a two-part on OneDrive. And part of the reason is that many of us use Office 365 or Microsoft, and we have this as it's installed on your system and we never use it. Or if you get confused and you don't know what it is, and you get confused with Google Drive. So Bill is going to enlighten us and tell us exactly what this is all about for the beginner, just to the people starting out. He's going to give us the basics on that. Take it away, Bill.
Our presentation this morning is using Microsoft OneDrive. OneDrive was previously known as SkyDrive, and it's Microsoft's file hosting service. It was first launched in August of 2007. And what it does, it enables registered users to share and synchronize their files. It comes in 5 gigabytes of storage free of charge, with 100 gigabytes or 1 terabyte and 6 terabyte storage options available either separately or with Office 365 subscriptions. The OneDrive client app adds file synchronization and cloud backup features to the devices it's installed on. Some of the features of OneDrive is versioning. OneDrive keeps older versions of all files for up to 30 days. It has a recycle bin, which allows users to choose to delete what users chooses to delete is stored there for a time and can be reinstated until they are ultimately purged from OneDrive. You can download as zip files. Entire folders can be downloaded as a single zip file. For single downloads, there is a limit of 15 gigabytes. The total zip file size limit is 20 gigabytes, and up to 10,000 files can be included in a zip file. It also has files on demand. With Windows 10, OneDrive can utilize files on demand where files are synchronized with OneDrive, showing up in file listings, but they do not require any disk space. As soon as the content of the file is required, the file is downloaded to the background. There are client apps for OneDrive. It's available in Android, iOS, Windows 10, Windows 11, Xbox 360, Xbox One, that allows users to browse, view, and organize files stored on their OneDrive cloud storage. OneDrive desktop application for Microsoft Windows 8.1, 10, and 11, and Microsoft OS, which is 10.7 Lion or later, allows users to synchronize their entire OneDrive storage with their computers for offline access between and multiple computers. The OneDrive client for Windows allows users to fetch the content to their PCs via the web browser, provided the user enables that option. Mac OS users can fetch from a PC, but they can't do it vice versa. The Android and iOS versions also allow Clamor photos to automatically be uploaded to OneDrive. There are several plans and upgrades that are available. If you subscribe to Office Microsoft 365, which is now known as Microsoft 365 Family, it's $99 a year, and it allows up to 6 people to have a terabyte of storage. And then there's also the version, if you don't wish to, don't need the family version, you can buy the personal version, which is $9 per year. It also comes with 1 terabyte of storage. And for those that do not subscribe to Microsoft 365, there is a standalone version which offers 100 gigabytes for $19.99. And that would be additional to the 15 gigabytes that you get with that comes along with Windows. And then, of course, I'm sorry, I said 55. I'm sorry. Then there's the OneDrive Basic, which is 5 gigabytes, and that comes standard with the Windows operating systems. So to get OneDrive's installed on your computer, you want to do that only if you're not using a Windows 10 computer. If you have a Windows 10 computer, it already has OneDrive pre-installed. If you don't have Windows 10 or a standalone copy of Office 2016 or later, you can install the Windows version of the OneDrive Sync app by going to that URL. And when you go to that URL, you'll find this page, and it will offer you to download it. And again, if you already have it installed, you don't need to do this at all. So to get started, if you don't currently have an account, to sign into OneDrive, you want to select the Start button, search for OneDrive, and then open it. In Windows 10, just click on the Best Match. And then from there, when OneDrive starts, you want to enter your Microsoft account and select Sign In. If you don't have a Microsoft account, you'll need to create one. Some of the key points in the OneDrive setup is that there are 2 screens that are helpful to watch for. One is, this is your OneDrive folder screen. You want to select Next to accept the default folder locations for your OneDrive files. Your default location probably would be users and the username. You want to change that folder location, you can click on Change Location. This would be the best time to do this. On the All Your Files Ready and On Demand screen, you'll see how files are marked to show them as online only, local available, or always available. Files on Demand helps you access all your files in OneDrive without having to download all of them and use storage space on your Windows device. Then you just select Next to sync your files. As you can see by the graphic here, the open cloud shows that that particular file is available when online. And then when it is downloaded, you'll see it's a circle with a check, means it's available on that device, and it's downloaded physically to your hard drive. You can also mark your important files to ensure that they're always accessed, even when you're offline. So that means that even though you do not have internet access, you're still able to access that file. You want to make note, if you've already synced OneDrive to your computer using the previous sync app we just discussed, you've just installed the sync app, you won't see this is your OneDrive folder or the sync files from your OneDrive screen during the OneDrive setup. The sync app automatically takes over syncing in the same folder location you were using before. To choose which folders you're syncing, you'll want to right-click the blue cloud icon on the task notification area and select Settings Account to Folder. As you can see as this example, you're on your notification area, you'll see a little cloud. You want to click that, and that will bring up this screen you see here. And you want to go up and click on the gear. When you click on the gear, that will take you to this applet, which you will see, well, it'll open up in the Account tab. And then you'll want to choose folders by clicking here, and then you'll get this screen. And here you can choose to make all the files that you have available online, or you can go in and pick and choose the ones that you do not want to be OneDrive, just the ones that you want to store there. And then once you've chosen the ones that you want to put in OneDrive, you just click OK. And then once you've done that, you're all set. You'll see all your files that are in OneDrive in File Manager. They'll be under a folder that is identified as OneDrive. So these are all my folders I have in my OneDrive folder. Although they're listed here, they're actually physically located in the cloud. And the reason why I know that, because I see the little cloud icon, with the exception of this one file here, which is presently is downloaded to my So once you've done that, you will have a new white and blue or blue cloud icon. And you may have both on your notification area, and your files are synced to your computer. The white or blue cloud will appear as OneDrive when you hover over the icon. Here. Anytime you want to change the folder you sync on your computer, you're want to right-click on that cloud icon I just showed you, and again go to Settings, Account, and choose Folders, and you can then make changes of which folders you want to sync to the cloud and which ones you do not. You also will see you can find other information such as settings, backup, network, office, and about. One of the signature features of OneDrive is Files on Demand. It gives you the ability to browse through your entire collection of OneDrive files using the File Explorer, even if those files are not synced to your PC. Dropbox has a similar feature called Smart Sync, but it's only available on the paid plans. If you open a file, OneDrive downloads it immediately. That's the on-the-demand part. And you can also mark files to be available even if you're not connected to the internet. To use this feature, you want to right-click any file or folder and then click Always Keep on this device. A solid green icon in the status column shows which files are available offline. Well, here's the example. The solid green check mark indicates files are available locally even when you're offline, as you hear. If you no longer want to keep those files offline, you can right-click on the file or the folder and then click Free Up Space to remove the local copies. They remain available in the cloud on demand. Here's a bigger picture. As you see here, the picture folder is now downloaded to and available on my PC, while the other ones, documents, and the shared folder is still in the cloud. It's also, you can tell it's shared because there's a little people icon next to it. The music folder has the circle that's going. That means it's being synced. But once you've done that, your OneDrive has been successfully set up. Next week, we'll discuss using OneDrive as a backup. We'll talk about OneDrive Web. We'll talk about the personal vault. And then also for those people that absolutely want to have nothing to do with OneDrive, we'll talk about how to disable OneDrive. And we'll answer questions during the break, during the after the our session, if there's questions about what we discussed here. Back to you, Ron.
Thanks, Bill. Just unshare yourself. Thanks so much. Yeah, there'll probably be, I have a bunch of questions for you, so I'm sure there's lots of people with questions. We'll deal with those later after in the question and answer part. All right, I've got a little something for you today on a very important issue that I think we all should, if you have an Android phone, or even I guess an iPhone, you should set this up properly. How to set up emergency information on your phone. Well, that's a haunting sound and one that brings back memories when I worked as a physician in the emergency department. The ambulance is coming. We have a sick patient. There's communication and dialogue between the paramedics and the emergency department. We have to get ready, and the more information we have about patient coming, the better off we're going to be. But where do we get that information? Well, the paramedics try to get it at the scene. But if the patient is unconscious, where do we find out? Are they allergic to anything? What medications are they on? Lots of information we need to know before that ambulance arrives in the emergency department. That's where you can help by filling out the emergency medical information on your phone, because that is the first place the paramedics go to retrieve the information. Now, that information is going to be on the unlocked part of your phone. Anyone can actually observe that, but if you're unconscious, it could be a life and death situation. So today we're going to look at how to fill out that medical information on an Android phone. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we make videos to help explain technology. Now, you know the old like and subscribe and click the notification, and we'll notify you when we make a new video. It could be a life and death decision. Anyway, let's get on with the video and look at how to fill out the medical information on an Android phone. So the important thing for you to know is that the medical information entered today is going to be done on my Pixel 6 phone, and it's going to be on Android 12. Now, the menuing system is different on different phones and different versions of Android, but the principles are still the same. So let's go ahead and just see what happens when I enter the medical information on my Pixel 6 phone with Android 12. All right, let's go to the Safety and Emergency Services on your phone. And we're going to open up medical information to start with. All right, the first thing obviously is your name. You can enter your name. The second thing is blood type. Now, in 2022, this is not important. We don't need to know your blood type when you come into the emergency department. This is something that is quickly available now. When you used to watch MASH and saw dog tags, well, that maybe was important, but not in 2022. And particularly in Canada, there's no way you know what your blood test is unless you give blood. Coming down to allergies. Allergies, of course, are important. Please keep this updated. I have no allergies except to Elastoplast. Medications, this is extremely important because the unconscious patient coming into the emergency department, we have no idea what medication you're on. Please update this. Address is very important because we often need to contact loved ones and people involved in your care. However, I'll be cautious about this in just a second. And as we come down and we click the more, it asks for any medical notes. And I think this is important. In the medical notes, your primary care physician address and phone number is great to put in the medical notes, or any comments or concerns you have about your health. This is where we would look to find specifics. Then, of course, come down to organ donor. This is so important to know, and this can be in very confusing times when people are very ill. We want to know if they're an organ donor, and this is a very good place to put that. If you look down at the very bottom here, this is so important. To help with emergency, people can view this without unlocking your device. So the information you're going to put above is going to be viewed by people who have your phone and don't have to unlock it to see this information. And the caution I put on that is you also have to be careful, because of course if you lost your phone, people are going to be able to view this information without having to unlock it. So you do have to be a little bit cautious, particularly with your address and information you want to put in here. You can change the settings. If you click here, you'll see it's an easy to change this setting. You just click here and it now will not be available to emergency personnel. I should tell you though, is if you do decide to do that, then you will not, emergency personnel wouldn't know your password, so they wouldn't be able to get into your phone. So the information wouldn't be available for the ambulance attendants. So that is medical information, the medical information section. All right, the second one here is, of course, emergency contacts. This is pretty straightforward. If we click this, we can now add emergency contacts, and we'll go over this in just a minute later on in this section. But to obviously, you have to be careful. To help an emergency, people can view and call these contacts without unlocking your device. Again, this allows the emergency services people to contact people who you have designated who might know something about your health. This could be a family member or a close friend. You can also change this setting again, and we can, of course, turn this off so you will not have access to this information if that's your wish. But again, that really makes this feature pretty well useless. So you'll want to leave that turned on, and you'll want to add your emergency contacts. All right, let's look at the emergency SOS feature now. We're going to come and I'm going to click this, and this is going to give us the emergency SOS feature of the phone. I have mine, of course, turned on. You can turn this on or you can turn it off. Okay. So we're now going to try the demo of an SOS. It will tell us how to start an emergency SOS, the 5-second countdown, and how to cancel the SOS, and what to expect after the countdown. And keep in mind, this is a simulation. So I'm going to click the start button now, and let's see how this will work. So that's how you would click it 5 times, the power button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to start the sequence of events, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is going to start. So we're going to go to the next step, and you'll see the countdown timer, and it's going to call emergency services. So what to expect after the countdown timer? Calling, sharing, and recording will automatically start. You can choose which of these features you want to use in settings, and boom, this is all going to start a sequence of events. So now we're back at the main menu. Let's look how we would set this up. If we come down, first of all, there is a sound, an alarm sound that will be played, and this is an example of what the sound is going to sound like. Now, the next option you have is, do you want emergency services called? In most cases, I would think you would probably want 911 called. But if you had a medical problem in which required a lot of care, you may have this set up so that you turn this off, and you could then just have your close contacts called for an event. So you may not always want 911 called. So all as I'm showing you here, in most cases, you would leave this on. The next feature is sharing the info with emergency contacts. Now, if you add your emergency contacts in here, then these are the people that could be contacted rather than 911. So if you had, let's say, an elderly patient you were caring for, and they had maybe a fall and didn't need 911, maybe if you lived in the same house, then they could simply, this would contact you rather than 911. So you have your option, and you can certainly have both on here so that it would contact both emergency services and both your emergency contacts. You can actually, if we click on, you can actually record a video. So you can record a video that would play for the emergency services, which is sort of interesting. To record the video, it's very easy. You just click here and record. You have here auto share. After backup, a link to the download, your video is automatically shared with your emergency contacts. You can choose to cancel sharing when recording ends. So you can either share this or share it. So you have your option of either sharing or not, and your phone records up to 45 minutes per video. So you can have a fairly long video if you want it played. So this is an option that you can actually share your video, and if you do have some complicated medical problems that you want to create a synopsis and have it available, this is a good option for you. Okay, let's look at car crash detection. This is actually where your phone can detect when you've been in a car crash and notify emergency services. This is only available at present on the Pixel phone, but it was announced this week that this will be rolling out for all Android phones. So watch for this feature when it comes if you do not have a Pixel phone. This is where car crash detection will actually tell when you've been in an accident. So I have mine turned on. And if your phone detects that you've been in a severe car crash, Pixel will vibrate, sound an alarm, and ask you if you need help. If you don't respond, Pixel will attempt to contact 911 and provide your location and car crash data. So let's see how this might look. We're going to try a demo.
Car crash detected. Say, emergency, to call 911 now. Otherwise, say, cancel.
And you have 60 seconds to make up your mind. And if you click I'm okay, you can certainly say I'm okay or call 911. I'm going to click I'm okay. If you don't respond, Pixel attempts to contact 911 to provide your location and car crash data. So I have this turned on, and I wonder how this will work on my e-bike if I get into a bit of a crash up on it. I'll let you know. Crisis alerts. So when we click this, we'll see crisis alerts. I'm going to turn this on and leave it on. I think this is an excellent feature. I get notified about natural disasters and public emergencies affecting your area. Keep in mind, Pixel may not notify you about all public emergencies. You can use this setting to manage certain emergency messages like disaster warnings, threat notification, and Amber Alerts. Important, you can use this setting to manage certain emergency messages like disaster warnings, threat notification, and Amber Alerts. You can turn alert types on or off, view past alerts, and control sound and vibration.
I guess I've got incoming to the emergency department,
so I'm sorry I'm going to have to leave you right away. Please help us by filling out the emergency notification on your smartphone. It makes a big difference and certainly will help us save lives in the emergency department. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Senior, where we make videos to help you understand technology. Remember the like and subscribe and the notification bell, and we'll send you a notification when we make a new video. I hope you've enjoyed this very important video, and we'll see you again soon. Okay, Ray, are you ready to roll?
Yes. So the name is Judith Durham, and probably most folks don't know her directly or the name, but she was the lead singer of the early 1960s folk group, The Seekers. Now, what are the chances that two famous Australian female singers from the latter half of the 20th century would both pass away within the same week? Well, that's what happened when the lead singer of The Seekers, Judith Durham, died on August 5, 3 days before Olivia Newton-John. She died from a chronic lung disease she had lived with since childhood. Judith was born in 1943, and early in her life, she believed her future would be as a pianist. She went on to gain her associate in music and classical piano as a student at the Melbourne University Conservatorium. She played piano with a small jazz band that led to her singing with them at the age of 18. Now, a short time later, she met the bass player in The Seekers, a new band that started performing folk-influenced pop music and developed a strong following in Melbourne. This led to a recording contract and a debut album in 1963. The following year, the band planned a 10-week trip to England, but instead, this turned out to be a much longer visit as their popularity grew. So after appearing on the same bill with singer Dusty Springfield, they met her brother Tom, who was a songwriter. He wrote I'll Never Find Another You, which they recorded toward the end of 1964. The next year, the song became the 7th biggest selling single in Britain, and the Seekers were the first Australian pop group to have a top 5 hit in Australia, the UK, and the US. Now, while the Seekers had many hits, Georgie Girl, released in late 1966, may be the best known. It reached number 2 on Billboard and was the title song for the British film of the same name. Now, with all this fame and success for the Seekers, it was a shock in early 1968 when Durham told her bandmates she would be leaving to pursue a solo career. The BBC sponsored a special farewell to the Seekers, an audience of more than 10 million viewers. Now, Judith had a successful solo career in multiple genres. She sang folk to country, jazz to pop, blues to gospel, some original songs. She did ragtime piano, even classical. Additionally, she had a fulfilling creative life as a composer, lyricist, writer, poet, actor, and company director. Somehow, she still found time for more than one Seekers reunion concert, including a Golden Jubilee tour in 2016. So today's video clip has recreated the original recording session of I'll Never Find Another You. This was done for a 1968 TV special. Now, while this was originally recorded in mono, with today's technology, they use something called DES, digitally extracted stereo, has provided this video with a new stereo mix. And then the second link I'll put in the chat box at the end is a 10-minute story of how this song came to be, including snippets from some of their reunion concerts. And amazingly, when you see these snippets, you'll see that their sound has not changed at all over the decades.
Thanks, Ray. That was great.
The Seekers.
Amazing.
It's a good thing I always turn my sound off before Ray starts.
I think you were humming along there, Bob.
Oh, humming, whistling, you name it.
That's the way we all should do. Very good.
Well, another hour has gone by. I want to thank everyone for coming. Of course, we're going to be entering into our Q&A pretty soon. I just want to remind everyone again about our Premier service. The three sessions we have for you today are, of course, Dewey's going to be talking about 5G. Huey's going to be talking about podcasting, and I'm going to be talking about medical stuff again, wearable technology. So those will all be in the links that I've given you in the chat, and they were also put into our Saturday newsletter. So make sure you subscribe to our newsletter on Saturday. And if you have to leave now, don't forget about our Thursday show this Thursday coming up. We will, of course, the usual gang will be there to go over the news of the week. Ray's going to join us and tell us a little bit about his new phone and all the fun he's having with it. We're going to, so that should be interesting. And then, of course, Huey and I are doing Learning Chromebooks 1 hour later. So if you do have an interest in Chromebooks, you want to come and have a listen to what we have to say, it will be a lot of fun. And so that's our busy week. We have a busy week today. And if you want to listen as well, we have a podcast out, and we podcast our Thursday show, which is usually out on Friday. And we're back next week to do it all over again. So lots of things happening. So we're going to open up for questions regarding anything that you had today. Now I'm going to take I have a question actually for Bill James, and I had the question I have. Bill, are you listening? There you go. There you are. Bill, I was wondering about syncing Google Drive to OneDrive, and I just Googled this, and it says archive Google Drive to OneDrive. Click on now with Cloud Sync. Click the Cloud Sync icon and select Google Drive as a source and OneDrive as the destination. Then click Sync Now, and it'll sync. So you can actually sync to OneDrive to Google Drive. Is that right?
I don't know. I was unaware of that.
Yeah, I thought that's sort of cool because
that is rather interesting. I'll have to check that out. I'll have something on there next week.
Okay, because
it's actually a little redundant, because you're already syncing it to OneDrive. Now you want to also sync.
Yeah, you just have it in two different places. It's sort of
maybe, or you're duplicating the same thing, especially if you also make it available on your computer, because you'll be really using up lots of stuff. So be careful.
Right. But just think about this. It's interesting. It's an interesting thought. But the other thing is, again, if you synced it all over to OneDrive, would then it sync to your PC, and you might have double everything. So I'm not quite sure how that would work, but it is interesting that you can do that.
Yeah, it is.
Right. All right, Gordy, go ahead.
Yeah, Bill, I just started using OneDrive. I have a laptop, a Windows 10 laptop, and I belong to a club, and the club members, several of us, are using the same shared drive. So they gave me a link to the OneDrive in the cloud, and I'm able to download files and get to them, but I cannot upload them. So after I download them, update the spreadsheet, I want to upload it back to OneDrive, and I can't figure out how to do it. I've tried drag and drop, I've tried copy and paste. I can't get it to work.
Gordy, I think it's a permission issue. So make sure that whoever is sharing the drive with you gives you read and write permissions.
Okay.
You just might have read only.
Okay.
But there is a setting in the person that set it up, they can give you permissions to read and write to OneDrive.
All right. So it's not that I need to do any more installation of OneDrive on my laptop. Since I have Windows 10, it's already there, and it should work if they give me the permission.
Right. It's just a person, when they set it up, there's a setting that allows you to read, write, or read only. And I would say that you probably have read only.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Thank you.
Tim, go ahead.
No, not really. You just have to go in and do a search, and you'll find some of the materials I got for my presentation came from Club Central, and it has a really good, it's not necessarily a tutorial, but it does give you some information. And you might just, whatever question that you have, you might just type that into your search, and maybe it will come up with an answer to what you need. But simplistically, OneDrive, if you think about it, is just another storage location. So you can do everything with it as you would on your internal storage you have on your PC. The only difference is that is the uploading and downloading the files. So when you right-click on a file in OneDrive, you'll see a couple things that are unique to it, which are not really visible. One is when you right-click on a file, it says, keep it local. I'm using the wrong term here. Let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. Is that when you right-click on the context menu that you get up, you'll see something, always keep on this device. So that means that that will keep the file or folder always on your local drive. And then if you want to upload it back, you just, below it, you say free up space. And that essentially will move it back to the cloud storage. That's the things that are really different once you set it up. Now, I know I really haven't found any other real differences other than when I manage my files and folders. That's any different from using just a regular hard drive. It's basically the same thing.
Bill, Ray, go ahead.
Bill, just a simple question. How secure is OneDrive? Would I feel comfortable and safe in putting highly sensitive information on my OneDrive account?
Well, it's a personal thing. People have criticized me. If you notice on my OneDrive, I have my tax information up there, and I felt no need to be overly concerned because it's tied to it's encrypted. It's tied to a user ID and password, and it has all the things that I think are necessary that keeps it safe. That's really a better question for Bob, how he feels about it. But I have no real concerns about the security of using it.
Neither do I.
Good. Thank you, guys.
Elaine, go ahead.
Hi. So if I have a file that is on Files on Demand, for instance, an image, and I download it to my computer, and then I change the image, and I want to upload it. I want to upload the changed image to the cloud again. If I just use free up space.
No, what you want to do, you want to give it a new name.
Okay.
You want to give it a new name because you've changed the file, so you want to keep the original and save the changed version, just as you would if you were doing it on your regular PC. There's no difference. And then once you get that done, then you can upload it back by just saying free up space, and it'll go back up to the cloud.
Then how do you get rid of the unchanged old file?
Just delete it, just as you would on your regular hard drive.
Go to the file and then right click and then say delete.
In File Manager, yeah.
In File Manager or in OneDrive or in
Well,
OneDrive in File Manager?
Exactly. So,
Okay.
see, the thing you have to keep, and it's kind of a mind game with you, is that if you think of OneDrive just being as another storage location, the only difference is not physically located on your PC, it's located in the cloud. So you have to manage it in two ways. One, first of all, you have to recognize the fact that if you want to use it, you have to download it to your PC. And when you click on it, because it's Files on Demand, it automatically will download. It'll stay there until you elect to move it back up. You can still do everything that you want to do with it. You know, you can rename it. You can duplicate it. You can do everything else you would if you was using a normal hard drive. There's no difference.
You also have to realize where you're saving that information, because if it's on a synced folder, it will automatically upload. So if you're making a change, if you're making a change in a folder that's being synced, that change will automatically sync with OneDrive.
Yeah,
or
that's true.
Anything else, you know, even if you were using Google Drive, if it was a synced drive, automatically that change will occur to the cloud.
So it would be saved with the original name, but it would be changed because you edited the image.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
syncing will actually rewrite.
You're overwriting, right? And you'll also overwrite it on the cloud storage.
Okay.
Unless you save it as, and then it becomes a different name, and then again you will have both copies, the old one and the saved one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And I'll talk about that again, Elaine. There's particularly if you use Office 365, it has what they call autosave feature, because the default storage for Office 365 is OneDrive, unless you go and change it. And I'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
Don't
do it on Thursday because I can't be here on Thursday. I have a doctor's appointment. My husband's supposed to have a new left lens by then.
It's a Tech for Seniors presentation at our club.
Gordon, go ahead.
Before he does, one thing you have to remember that when you're syncing, it's not really a backup. When you sync, when you make a change in one place, it makes it a change in the other. And if you delete it in one place, it's going to delete it in the other if you're syncing. So it's not really a backup unless you set it up that way.
Right. I mean, we'll talk about that next week as well.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Gordon, go ahead.
That's a true statement, and I'm going to talk about that next week as well. That's a separate folder within OneDrive.
Yes, thanks, Gordon. Bill, I had one question for you, or a comment. I wonder what your thoughts are on this. It is my opinion that you should not change your location of your OneDrive once you set it up. I did that a few years ago with disastrous consequences. And I really, I thought it was a great idea. I read an article and they said, oh, you should move it over here. But when I moved that OneDrive, of course, none of, like, all my project files for all the videos I made and all this stuff, it was looking for the wrong directories to find the stuff. And it was the worst decision I ever made in my life. I don't know if you have any comments on that, or if you agree with that, but I think once you set your OneDrive folder up on your PC, you should leave it where it is.
And I would agree. And that was, I maybe kind of glossed over that, but in that presentation, there was a comment about the fact if you're going to change the location, you need to do it in the initial setup and not do it later, because I think that's where the confusion
Right.
or the mix-up will occur. So if you're going to change the default location, do it as you set up OneDrive, not after the fact.
So you can see how this would happen, though. You know, you get a computer and you set it up, and then maybe you get a 1 terabyte SSD, and you think, well, I'll just move the OneDrive folder over onto the SSD, and that's what I did. You know, a couple of years ago, I just moved it over there. I thought that's a great idea. Well, that was a really, really bad idea. So just to let everyone know that. Bob,
if you're going to do that, you need to do it initially when you first set it up. Yeah.
Bob, did you have a comment on that?
I'll go one step further than that. Anytime you don't put things at its default place, unless you know what you're doing when it comes time to moving things, deleting things, you are going to have a problem, because the program itself, no matter what it is, whether it's a program you install, an app, or OneDrive or a Google Drive, if you make changes, all the pointers say, I'm going here, I'm going here. Now, if you've changed it, it doesn't exist anymore. And none of your stuff is readily recallable unless you go through, like Ron did, to go and find stuff once you've made a simple change, like changing it from one drive to the next, because the initial pointer won't find it. And that goes for almost all programs. If they have a default folder, the simplest way not to run into problems is go with the default.
You know, and I agree with Bob. I think a lot of, I remember when Microsoft first came out, and they came out with what was referred to as libraries. Everybody, you know, went completely ballistic over that, because they had their own filing system. And so they want to continue with that. But as time has passed over, I mean, that thinking needs to be rethought, because particularly when you're trying to do your backups and all of that, is that backups don't work properly if they can't find the stuff in what they assume it's going to be there. So really, if you can kind of get over the fact that Microsoft is going to manage your files and folders, then you're much better off. You know, as far as my personal experience is that I go with all the defaults, and any time I've had to restore my machine or do any kind of maintenance where I've actually had to recreate stuff, it's been really simple to get files and folders back because they were in their default location. I didn't have to struggle trying to find stuff. You just go in and just recreate what was there before, and it just works. So just kind of keep that in mind. I mean, I know everyone
right. Huey, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing I advise people, especially if you're not an expert, you're better off leaving everything in their default positions, because if you have to rely on other people coming in to help you, either remotely or in person, and work on your computer, they need to know where things are. And if they're where they're supposed to be, there's not a big issue. And if you change even the appearances to such an extent on your computer that it makes it very difficult for someone who's trying to help you find things or maneuver around your system, it really can complicate things to get it fixed in a decent manner. So my suggestion, and I adhere to this too, I try to keep defaults as much as I can. I try to be, I call it generic, and keep things as they are. It just makes it easier for me to find things, to show people how to do things, to do any of the recordings that we do. And then when I help other people, I hope that they have done the same thing.
Now, we're not talking about personalization, like, you know, changing the colors or the themes and those kinds of things. That's not the issue. Right. It's the basic operating portions of your computer, like where the files are stored. But, you can change the colors and do a theme, all this other stuff. That doesn't bother anyone. But when you try to go in and help someone and they have things in really odd places, it really makes it difficult to help.
Absolutely.
As Jim Gould said, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
So Jim, did you had your hand up? Did you have a question or do you have a comment or?
That was a thumbs up.
No, that was a thumbs up for what they were saying.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Because both Bob and Huey are just so right. And well, you too, and Bill, but well, certainly not as good as Chris, but but
Neil,
you guys
do you have
did such a
Okay. Neil, do you have a very short question? Because it's 20 minutes after we've got to leave.
Yeah, we got to go.
I just got a fast comment. I had unlinked my OneDrive several weeks ago or whatever, and I had just now relinked it because I couldn't find some files that I thought I had on my computer. So, and it came right back.
All right.
Everything finds everything, no matter where you put it.
That's right.
Gee, Huey made that pretty plain last week. But for those of us that have been using everything for quite some time, I wouldn't be caught dead without everything.
Yeah. So anyway, well, listen, we got to leave it there. Thanks everyone for coming.
Before we go, there was something in the chat, and I probably missed someone, but Joe, I think it's Burn, asked a question about publisher being part of 365. You can keep your current version 2010 and use that with OneDrive. I don't see a problem with that. OneDrive is just another storage. So if you want to save your publisher files to OneDrive, even though it's a 2010 version, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Thanks everyone for coming. See you next week, or we'll see you Thursday, or we'll see you for learning Chromebooks, or we'll see you on the podcast, but we'll see you again. Okay. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.